Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for watching this video. This shows that you care enough to take a look and see on the kind of problems that you're going to see on your math quiz tomorrow. So a lot of students ask me, how do I study for a math quiz? So here are some ideas that I would give you from a math student myself. I would try some practice problems of previous assignments or some examples we did in class. You could also Google some problems. If you just type factor trinomials or factor difference of squares or factor by grouping, you should be able to find a lot of problems on this information. So I'm also going to go through each kind of factoring that we went over, and I'm also going to go over the factor and solve ones that we saw today in class. So my first one, I'm always going to want to try GCF, or greatest common factor. So I notice I can't divide 3 and 2 by anything. There are no numbers that go into both 3 and 2. So I notice, though, I have an x squared here and 1x here. So I'm going to divide out an x. So then I know that I'm just going to get a 3 since I didn't divide anything out. X squared divided by x leaves me with 1x. And I divided out the x, so I'm going to be left with 2y. That is done because it says just factor, not factor and solve. Now, if I go over here, I notice I have 4 terms. When I have 4 terms, that means we're going to do the box problem. So I'm going to get 2x cubed, x squared, 8x, and 4. So then I need to look and find the GCF of the first row. So I do not have any numbers that I can divide out, but I have some x's. I have x cubed here and x squared here. So it looks like they share an x squared. So now I'm going to start asking myself, what times x squared will give me 2x cubed? So it looks like I need at least a 2 there. Then I have x squared and I need x cubed. So x squared times x will give me x cubed. So now I'm going to look down the row. So 2x times what will give me 8x. So now I need to look at the numbers. 2 times what will give me 8. That looks like it's 4. And x and x, I already have the x, so I don't have to have an x here. Then I want to look. 4 times what will give me 4? Well, that's pretty easy. That's 1. Now I'm going to double check. Does x squared times 1 give me x squared? Yep, that's true. So now I can write my 2 factors. I'll have 2x plus 1 and x squared plus 4. Now, this one, this is a trinomial. I have 3 terms. So I'm going to use the AC method. So if you remember, A is the first letter, or first number. B is the one with the x. And C is the one without an x. So I'm going to take A times C. So 1 times negative 60, which is going to give me negative 60. Now I need to write all the factors of negative 60. So I got 1 and negative 60, negative 1 and 60, 2 and negative 30, negative 2 and 30, 3 and 20, let's put a negative on that, negative 3 and a positive 20. Seems like I haven't hit 4 yet, so let's increase the numbers. 4 doesn't go in, 5 might go in. So if I put a 5 and then a negative 12, can also have the other way, negative 12 and 5. Still haven't hit a positive 4. So then what about 6 and 10? So negative 6 and a positive 10. Or I can have a positive 6 and a negative 10. So if I look here, if I add these guys together, I want to get a positive 4x. So I get 2 and negative 30, that doesn't give me 4. Negative 2 and 30, that doesn't give me 4. 3 and negative 20, that definitely doesn't give me 4. 5 and negative 12, nope. Getting closer though. Negative 12 and 5, nope. 6 and negative 10, that gives me a negative 4. I want a positive 4. Negative 6 and 10. There is my winner. So now what I'm going to do is rewrite this middle term using the two numbers I found. So I'm now going to change this into x squared minus 6x plus 10x minus 60. So now I'm going to create this into a box problem. So I'm going to get x squared minus 6x plus 10x minus 60. So it looks like I have an x going this way and an x going down. X times what will give me 10x? 10. 10 times what will give me negative 60? Negative 6. Then for good measure, negative 6 times x is negative 6x. So I have x minus 6 and x plus 10. Last problem that we did was difference of squares. So we are going to want to first create our two parentheses. If you remember, I always said one's going to have a plus, one's going to have a minus. So x squared. Square root of x squared is x. Square root of 25, 5. Next kind of problems is the factor and solve problems. So first things, if you remember, we always want to see, is there a GCF hiding somewhere? It doesn't look like it because I have a 2, a negative 1, and a negative 3. So what I'm going to do is use AC. So 2 times negative 3, which is going to give me a negative 6. So then I need to figure out my factors of negative 6. I have negative 6 and 1, negative 1 and 6, negative 2 and 3, and 2 and negative 3. I want a negative 1. So that's going to give me negative 5. That's going to give me a positive 5. That's going to give me a positive 1. This right here is going to give me my negative 1. So I'm going to rewrite my middle term. I have 2x squared plus 2x minus 3x minus 3 equals 0. So now I'm going to do my box. 2x squared, 2x, negative 3x, and minus 3. Looks like I have a 2x going this way, x going down. So I'm going to get negative 3 here, and a 1 here. So I have my two factors. X plus 1, 2x minus 3. Now, if you remember, this still equals 0. So now I need to set both of them equal to 0 and solve. So x plus 1 equals 0. So it looks like x equals negative 1. And then 2x minus 3 equals 0. So I'm going to add 3 to both sides. And I get 2x equals 3 divided by 2. X equals 3 halves. Let's look at this one. 4x squared minus 8x. So it looks like they have a GCF. So I'm going to take out, it looks like the highest number I can take out of 4 and 8, or divide away, would be 4. Now let's see, do I have x's in both terms? It looks like it. So I have x squared and an x. So it looks like the most number of x's I can take out is x. So 4 divided by 4 gives me a 1. X squared divided by x gives me x. 8 divided by 4 is 2. And x divided by x is 0. This still equals 0. So I get 4x equals 0. And x minus 2 equals 0. So if I divide by 4, I get x equals 0. Add 2 on both sides, I get x equals 2. Thanks for watching. Good luck in your test tomorrow.